One of the most dramatic moments in Parshat Shemot is the scene of Moshe Rabbeinu, who is shepherding his father-in-law Yitro's sheep. When he comes to what we will know be Har Halokim, the mountain of God, he sees a vision of the sneh, of the bush, which is boer ba'esh, which is burning, veinenu ukal, but not being consumed. And the Chumash tells us that Hashem saw that he turned aside to see, and Hashem called out to him from amid the bush and said, Moshe, Moshe. And he replied, Hineni, here I am. And here's the pasuk I'd like Emir Hashem to focus in on today. He said, Perek Gimel, pasuk Hey, Al tikrav halom, do not come closer to here. Remove your shoes from your feet. Shal na'alecha ma'al raglecha, ki hamakom asher ata olev omed alav admas kodeshi, for the place upon which you stand is holy ground. Baruch Hu tells Moshe Rabbeinu, don't go any further. Stop where you are. Al tikrav halom. Remove your feet, your shoes from upon your feet, because the ground that you're standing on is admas kodesh, is holy ground. I'd like to raise one question on this pasuk, and that's the question which is implicit within the Ramban. And that's source 3, the English Arsker Ramban. In explaining the Ramban, he asked, if the Shekhinah was resting only on the burning bush, why was the ground on which Moshe was now standing at a distance from the bush holy? Right? If the bush is on the top of the mountain. So I understand, Al tikrav halom, don't move any closer, because that ground is holy ground. But why would it necessitate that Moshe Rabbeinu, where he is standing, would remove his shoes, because this is Admas Kodesh, because this is holy land? So I'd like to try to understand the dynamics of what the taking off the shoes is all about, what the idea of Admas Kodesh, holy ground, is all about. And equally important is that everything in Chumash, and this is the supposition we've been working with throughout our learning, every pasuk in Chumash is eternal, has a message for us. What is the message that we can learn from this pasuk for our own lives? We're not Moshe Rabbeinu, we're not by the sneh, we don't have holy ground, we don't see this prophetic insight. What message does this pasuk have bearing on our lives? So to try to understand this pasuk, let's take a look first on the Pshuto Shemikra level, the way the Ramban explains it, which will answer our question in the most simplistic of terms. The Ramban says, even though he was far away in source 3 from the bush, HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, no, the entire mountain has become sanctified when the Shekhinah descended on the top of the mountain, which is equally true by Mammon Har Sinai. And when Hashem commanded him to remove his shoes, Moshe was already indeed on the mountain, because it says, Vayavo el Har Lokim Chareva, he arrived at the mountain. So even though the sneh was at the top of the mountain, Moshe Rabbeinu, who was at the bottom of the mountain, he was already on that mountain. And just like at Mammon Har Sinai, the entire mountain took on the Kedusha of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Shekhinah, so too now, even though the sneh was on the top of the mountain, the whole mountain took on this aspect of elevated sanctification, as Chazal tell us, B'chol makom shashchina nigleit asur b'nilas hasanda. Anywhere where the Shekhinah reveals itself, the divine presence reveals itself, there you're not allowed to be wearing shoes. And that explains likewise, V'chein HaKohanim lo shimshu b'mikdash ela yechefim. Why the Kohanim, the priests, would serve in the Beis HaMikdash without shoes on, right? What we have today that reminds us of this is Birkos Kohanim, where the priests take off their shoes before they bless the people. In the Beis HaMikdash, this was the way they worked. They worked yechefim, they worked barefoot, they couldn't have any chatzitza, anything that was going to come between them and the ground, because of the Shekhinah, because of the great divine presence which was found in the Beis HaMikdash. And indeed, as the Ramban notes in the next piece, which is found at the end of paragraph 1 of source number 2, By the time the Torah was given, Moshe had attained a level of holiness that permitted him to ascend the mountain, but this was right now an early stage of his prophecy. So this is Pshuto Shel Mikra. What does it mean? Al tikrav halom, don't go further. Don't go further because you're not yet on a level of, a higher level of prophecy that you can come close to this high level of revelation of godliness. But realize that even where you are on the lower end of the mountain is kadosh, the mountain is holy because of a Kadosh Baruch Hu Shechina, which has been revealed, and therefore you need to take off your shoes. Great. But obviously that's only one level of understanding, and that's probably Pshuto Shel Mikra, the most simplistic level of understanding. Just to give us a sense of the Pardes level, Pshat, Remesh, Drash, and Sod, of a deeper level of understanding this pasuk, before I'm working with the approach that I like to try to